Darkcast Network, bringing our indie podcasts out of the shadows.
Just before we dive into this week's episode, here's a promo.
Welcome to Murder and Mimosas.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Danica.
Together as a mother and daughter duo, we host Murder Mimosas, true crime podcast with an episode released every Saturday at 10 a.m. so you can listen to it during prime brunch time. While we don't require a mimosa, we do highly recommend one. All of our episodes are cases that we found really interesting or just really stuck with us because we hope they'll do the same for you. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hello and welcome to CrimeDivers. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jill.
Welcome to season 7.
Hello everybody, thanks for coming back because we've been away for a while.
Yes, we have had an extended break.
Well, yeah, life kind of got in the way. We were only intending on having a couple of weeks off, I think, weren't we? Because Laura, well, we had the Easter holidays, so obviously Laura's got a child, so it's...
Not easy.
No, it's not easy to be doing stuff while she's doing cartwheels around you, because that's all she does.
Exactly.
And talks.
Uh-huh.
So she had the Easter holidays and then she decided to go to New York.
I did. I went to New York and it was fabulous.
I know, it looked amazing.
I had an absolutely brilliant time there. I really, really did. So that was a good break away. Just me and Justin, we were without child for that holiday, so our mum kindly looked after.
Yeah.
I
thought you weren't going to say anything there. I thought, maybe people will be like, oh, that was nice of Jill to look after the child, and you've just...
No, Jill didn't look after the child.
Jill wasn't asked to look after the child, but even if Jill was asked to look after the child, she would be probably saying, do I have to?
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
handle her for that long.
But anyway, it was all fine, so I had a really nice break.
Yeah, it looked really good, and as she always does when she goes to America, she brought me back peanut butter M&Ms.
I did, I brought you back some goodies, didn't I?
You did.
You always do it well out of me when I come back from the holidays.
Yeah, she went to the Friends experience, because we love Friends, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And she brought me back a water bottle, a Friends water bottle.
Yes.
Even though it was free.
I know it was free. Well, I got a free gift, so I ended up with 2, so I didn't need 2.
Yeah.
So I give you 1.
Yeah.
Then I got you some Cheetos. Anyone tried Cheetos?
Yeah,
So what,
I recommend them. They make your fingers go orange for ages though.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I recommend them because we don't get Cheetos here, do we? Well, we might, but I'm not in the normal shops.
No,
maybe
I think you probably have to get like the specialist, like American
shops and things, yeah.
That probably cost you like twice the price.
Yeah, exactly. So she got me them and they were lovely. So Easter holidays, New York, and what did Jill do? Went to the hospital.
Yes. Which I had to take her to.
Yeah. Well, I was getting sedated, so I needed somebody to give me a lift. So I just went in for a minor procedure. Nothing bad. Just, So, and I haven't been feeling too great recently. So life just kind of got in the way for a bit. But we're back now.
Exactly. We're back ready to tackle season 7.
Yeah. And before we get started, I would just like to say we got a new Patreon who actually joined, I think, a few weeks ago, and we haven't had a chance to say thank you because obviously we haven't been here.
Exactly. So we are now taking the opportunity to say thank you
to
Amy Everett.
Thank you very much, Amy. And I did when she joined, I did send. Obviously, I sent a message, which I always do. Well, one of us always does. We'll send a message, just say thank you. But it's nice to give you a shout out on the show. So thank you, Amy. Your support means the world. And if anyone else wants to join Amy over there and get some bonus episodes, early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, then it's patreon.com/CrimeDivers. And our tiers just start from £1 a month or the equivalent in whatever currency, wherever you are in the world. So, with all that said,
shall we
dive in? Yeah, because we're on season 7.
And we're actually starting off with a lot.
Yes, I have a lot of swords. So, where in the world are we?
We're in the USA.
Okay, and what is the name of your episode?
It's called The Kahler Family Massacre.
Oh, okay. So, let's dive in then.
Let's go. So today's case takes us to the city of Weatherford in Texas, USA, which was home to the Kahler family, who consisted of James Craig Kahler, he went by the name of Craig, his wife Karen, their 2 daughters, 18-year-old Emily and 16-year-old Lauren. They also had a 10-year-old son called Sean. So Craig and Karen, they had been together for many years. Craig had been in his last year of his engineering degree at Kansas State University when he met Karen, who was in her first year. The couple were both ambitious, and they were very bright students, and they shared a lot in common. So friends said that they were the couple that everyone tried to live up to, and everyone knew that they were going to be really successful when they both graduated. So they were the in couple, I think, as you would say. Everybody looked up to them and was like, oh, we want to be like them, and look at them.
The power couple.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So they soon married and had their first daughter Emily in they soon married and they had their first daughter Emily. So in 1999, an opportunity came along. Craig was offered the job of utility director of Weatherford, Texas. So it was not only a well-paying job, but it was also a very respected one as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they settled into a nice home, and they had 2 more children, which is Lauren and Sean. And neighbours said that the family, they were a key part of the community. They were always involved in everything, and they were keen to welcome new people to the area. Karen would often be baking cakes and making food for everyone. So they were just all round nice, really.
I like people who make food.
I know, so do I. I actually wish I had somebody that was really good at cakes. Although
I am.
Well.
Okay, let's just move on.
We'll just move on to that one. I think I'm better than you now. Anyway. So Emily, she attended the St. Louis College of Pharmacy, and Lauren was an honours student at Columbia High School. And the teens, they were also in a band where they both played and sang, often showcasing their talents around town. So, the kids, they were doing well for themselves as well. So a lot of people in the area admired the Kahler family, but all was not as it seemed.
Okay.
So one day, Karen's sister Lynn got a call, and it was Karen. She wanted to confide in her about the true state of her marriage.
Oh.
She told Lynn that over the years, Craig had changed. He had started giving her curfews and an allowance, which he supervised and...
Curfews to his wife?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Eh?
Okay.
I would have been like, up yours, mate.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
listen, I try that with John. It doesn't work.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I get told to fuck off.
Yeah. So he obviously gave her an allowance of money as well, which he supervised and scrutinised, demanding to see receipts for all of her purchases, even on everyday things like food.
That's awful.
I don't know how you could live like that.
No, that's awful.
I mean, I know when you're obviously, in a relationship, you're married, you've got money, you obviously need to, be aware of what you're spending between you, because, you need to budget and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's a difference for that than actually being like, here's your allowance, but actually I want to see every receipt that you're getting. No, that's
not right. So, yeah. My heart goes out to anybody that would have to deal with that.
Exactly. So for also, he would also demand sex every night at 8 p.m.
Oh my God.
And everything that she did in the house had a timer on it. She did everything she was asked to keep the peace, but things were getting worse and she felt trapped and scared. Which, totally understand that.
That's awful.
That is terrible. So Karen told her sister that she wanted to look for an outlet, something that was just hers that he couldn't control. So she actually decided to join a local gym, and that was around the children's school hours and Craig being at work. So there was no reason why she couldn't, go and do that. Because obviously, I don't think she was working at this point, from what I understand. So friends said that, she was soon there so much and keen to learn that she was eventually actually hired as a fitness instructor. So she obviously wasn't working initially, but because she was out of time, she got hired as a fitness instructor. And it was a completely different career path, but something she was totally excited to do.
She must have been good at it.
Yeah. And to her surprise, when Craig found out that she had been going, he was actually totally fine with it.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, he was totally fine, as long as that she was home to look after the children. So he was totally fine, do it, but, make sure you're home to look after the children.
Okay.
So one day at the gym, Karen bumped into a woman called Sonny Reese. Sonny Reese, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Sonny.
Sonny sounds better, but I don't know if it...
Well, it's spelled Sonny, so I'm not sure of the pronunciation, because I didn't...
I would say Sonny.
Sonny Reese. She was another personal trainer. So from the get-go, I mean, they were totally inseparable. They had a lot in common, and they spent all their shifts together. And before long, a romantic relationship developed, and the couple began an affair.
Right. Okay, well, I'm not condoning that, because I know you're in a shit marriage, but
Yes, I know.
still not condoning it.
Definitely not. So Lynn, the cat was Karen's sister, said that she felt like her sister was so mentally beaten down at that point that when she found someone that seemed to really care about her and who didn't want to control her, the relationship just fell together naturally.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I can understand it. I mean, I'm saying I don't condone it, but I can understand, you know, because that will obviously be so much different to what she's used to, and
exactly.
somebody who's actually caring towards her.
Yeah,
and,
exactly, not controlling her. And, you know,
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Mm-hmm. So Karen knew that she had to come clean.
Yeah.
Until,
good.
And tell Craig everything.
Yeah.
But to her total shock, Craig didn't seem to have an issue with it. He actually encouraged and started messaging Sunny, sending her flowers and asking for a threesome.
Ah.
People think that he saw it as an opportunity to spice up his marriage and sex life, and he told Karen that he didn't have any problem with it as long as he was included and she didn't leave him.
Why does he have to be included?
Well,
he's just spoiling it.
Well, exactly. But Karen and Sunny, they wanted no part.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And this threesome, they just wanted it to be them.
Yeah.
So Craig, he was a bit embarrassed at the rejection, and now that he knew that there was no chance of bringing Sunny into his marriage, he wanted the affair to stop. But of course, Karen...
So he was only okay with it when it suited him.
Yeah, like, so if he was getting involved in it, then he was like, all right, okay, well, that's fine, because I'm getting something out of this.
Yeah.
But when he realised that that clearly wasn't going to happen, then...
He's like, no, yeah.
But of course, Karen and Sunny, they continued the relationship. And it seemed that Karen was well and truly wanted to be out of her marriage.
Right.
But after a few months, Craig decided that the best way to put a stop to it was to move the family out of town. So he started looking for a career change elsewhere so that he could make that happen.
So they're still living together while she's having an affair?
Yeah, so they were still together, but I think when I say out of the marriage, she was probably like emotionally out of it. Like she just was like dead in the water for her. She was wanted to be with Sunny now, and
maybe, and I'm assuming it wasn't that easy just to get up and
not.
leave.
Yeah, especially when they've got... I mean, obviously the two girls were obviously a bit older because they were 18 and 16, but I mean, they still had 10-year-old Sean, so I mean, he would have needed the care.
So the kids, and obviously money and stuff as well.
Exactly. So so basically he decided, I'm going to move the family. So he actually did get another job in Columbia, Missouri, and it saw him become the highest paid person in the city. And in June 2008, the family all moved there. So Craig hoped that things would return to normal, and as Karen and Sunny were almost 700 miles apart, he felt confident that the affair would come to an end, but yeah, it didn't.
Well, I mean
700 miles is a long way, but...
Yeah, but I was just thinking, but just because you moved away, maybe she'll stop that relationship, but what's to stop her getting into a relationship with somebody else
true, actually, I never thought
in the
that
new
way.
place?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
She could have met somebody else, maybe. But anyway, they carried on with a long distance relationship.
Right.
So they would email, they would call, and they would text each other. And to be fair, they would actually sneak visits where they would kind of meet each other halfway. So they would both travel and meet somewhere halfway to see each other. So it didn't stop them at all. So Karen and Craig's marriage, of course, that was now in a very bad, toxic place. Wasn't good. So on New Year's Eve, the Kahlers attended a party back in Weatherford, from where they were living originally, and Sonny was there. At various points during the party, some guests saw Karen and Sonny together, and it was very obvious that something was going on between them. So what had been a secret between the three of them was now out in the open.
Right.
So Craig, he was mortified.
I was going to say, he'll be feeling humiliated.
Yeah, so a huge fight broke out between him and Karen, and it carried, obviously they must have decided to leave, and it carried on as they left. And Karen said that Craig pushed her so hard that she smashed her head on the street, sort of, the ground on the street.
Ow.
So he obviously was totally raging and got a bit violent. So a matter of days later, Karen told Craig that she was filing for divorce, because that must have been the last straw for her, I'm assuming. She started the legal proceedings and moved into the spare room. So Craig spent hours calling Karen's family and friends, asking them to convince her not to go ahead with a divorce.
How embarrassing.
I know. And that was in one breath, but in the next, you know, he was telling him that she was leaving for another woman and wanted to steal all his money and take the children. So one moment he's like, please don't let her to leave, but actually, oh, she's leaving me and she's taking the kids and the money and all this. So he was obviously, maybe he wasn't getting what he was looking for in the conversation. His tone must have changed, I don't know. But
like, mate, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It is, like, that's embarrassing.
Obviously, I mean, put his behaviour aside, I mean, obviously, it must be maybe he's horrible. He's obviously upset that he's lost his wife and she's met another woman, and I
get all that,
but I mean,
to be phoning her family and saying, "Oh, convince her to stay," that's embarrassing.
Well, exactly. But then I'm not even funny, mate. You've kind of brought it on yourself, really, because you're the one that was horrible to her and controlling and stuff. So.
Well, exactly. I mean, well, who's to say? I mean, it might have happened anyway.
Oh, true.
But you know, it sounds like he's pushed her. Maybe if she'd had a happy marriage, she would never have looked at anybody else like that. No, but because she's been so miserable, somebody's shown her a bit of affection, and you know, that's what happened.
That is what happens. So Sally started to contact Craig and tell him to leave Karen alone, and that she was never happy with him anyway. So it was now March 2009, and things escalated even more. After a fight became physical, Craig was arrested, and he told police that he had hugged Karen tightly and that she had resisted. Karen said that he'd actually violently grabbed her, giving her bruises. So he was just...
So he's saying I hugged her and she got bruised?
Aye, basically, because he hugged her so tight.
Oh, right, okay then.
But no, apparently not.
Better watch when we're hugging people. I don't want to bruise them.
I know. She gave a statement, and it said, over time, it has become apparent that Craig is controlling. I have learned along the way that he is capable of using force. The issues vary, but I figured out how to keep things from becoming ugly. When money was a problem, I wouldn't tell him what things like groceries and clothing cost, etc. When it was about sex, I decided it was easier to give him what he wanted every night than to refuse. On occasions, I would refuse. He has been known to be forceful and mean. I'm afraid it will escalate so far that someone is going to be seriously hurt. So that was her statement. So Karen pressed charges, and she and the children moved out of the house. So people said this was when Craig became quite reclusive and erratic. He no longer wanted anything to do with Emily and Lauren, the girls, and only wanted to see Sean.
Why?
Saying his daughters had failed him by taking their mum's side.
His daughters have failed him?
Yes. Apparently this was made worse when Lauren and Emily said that they accepted Sonny, and they said that they were happy to see their mum happy, but of course Craig, he was enraged, and he referred to his daughters as rotten corpses. And friends said that he started stalking Karen and spying on her, and he also got into her house to install cameras and hacked into her emails. So,
oh my God!
But, I mean, imagine saying that about your kids. I mean,
your kids are like, obviously to an extent they're going to be involved, but you can't expect them to like take sides, or if they do kind of maybe side with one, you know.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I don't think you can really hold it against them because it's not their fault. They'll
have seen the way that their mum has been treated by their dad, so it's not surprising that they took their mum's side.
Well, exactly.
So again, she didn't fault me.
And obviously they want to see their mum happy. So if that means she's going to move on and be with somebody else, then I guess you do have to come to an acceptance of that.
To me, that sounds quite mature for the girls to be like, well, we want to see our mum happy.
Exactly. But you know, normally you're thinking, well, we can still do that. We can still have a relationship with our dad and our mum and stuff. You know, it shouldn't affect that. But then that's unfortunately where parents split up and it gets nasty. That kids get caught in the crossfire, don't they? So
I know it is. It's awful. It really is.
I know. I think it's terrible. So obviously, let's say, it started spying on her and somehow got cameras in her house and stuff. So police were called to the house one day when Karen found out that Craig had slashed her tyres and that he was ripping out cables from outside her house. And Craig himself, he was soon starting to slip up at work, choosing to show his colleagues' family albums over and over, leaving work unannounced to see what Karen was doing. Given everything that was going on, Craig's manager Bill actually quietly asked him to resign.
I'm not surprised.
2009.
This guy is unhinged.
Yeah, totally. He was basically starting to stalk them and stuff, and just be like, he couldn't accept what was going on.
Yeah.
So his focus on the department obviously had been affected in a way that was not likely to change in the near future. So his boss paid Craig 2 months' salary and 1 month of severance. So with any other job prospects looking unlikely, Craig actually had to move back and meet his parents.
Oh.
So he was probably, his ego would have been bruised quite a bit, I think.
It's really hard to have any sympathy for this guy.
I know. So as Karen and Craig were now legally separated, Craig still owed Karen over $3,000 a month in child support, which is quite a lot.
Americans seem to pay a lot for child support.
Because that's what I said. I was like, I mean, obviously, how do you afford that? I mean,
they must get more money than us.
well, yeah. I mean, I know he did have, obviously, at the time, the best paid job
Yeah.
in the city, but still, I mean, I don't know, that just seems quite a lot. I mean,
It does, but I'm sure we did another case about something to do with child support. I mean, we were talking about it, and it just seemed to be like I mean, I don't know how much
no.
here people pay for child support.
I don't think it's as much. That, 'cause I mean,
but it just seems an awful lot. The
I
American.
don't even think a lot of people here would maybe earn that in a month here.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm like,
yeah.
that sounds quite a lot. I mean, I'm sure it is based on your earnings, of course. So at the time, maybe that is something that he was able to afford, but he's obviously lost his job now.
Listen to us poor people over here. We can't afford child support. I'm glad they're all grown up.
Yeah, well.
Well, yours isn't, so you better hope that if you split up, you better keep custody.
Yeah, totally. Good enough for any child support. Jeez, yeah. So let's fast forward to Thanksgiving 2009, and Karen, Sonny, and the two girls spent it with Karen's sister Lynn at her house. Sean spent it with Craig, but Karen wanted all her children and Sonny to visit her grandmother Dorothy during the holiday period too. So the next day, she went over to pick up Sean, so that they could make their way to where 8 to 9-year-old Dorothy lived, which was in a quiet little farmhouse in a city of less than 1,000 people in Burlingame, Kansas.
How can you call that a city?
That's what it said.
I was like, that's not a city. That's a village.
Yeah, I suppose it would be.
Maybe they call it a city over
I
there.
don't know, but that's what it was called.
We would call that a village.
Yeah.
But that sounds nice, a little farmhouse.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So despite Karen and Craig's many arguments and fights about the divorce, questions about where the children would live and issues with finances, Karen was hopeful that a resolution would soon be found.
Mm-hmm.
Craig was just days away from going to court in regards to the incident several months earlier about the stalking and the violent one where he hugged her. I think it was that one.
The hug one with the bruised hug.
Yeah. And a hearing had been scheduled for January to start going through the divorce. So as soon as the holiday period was over, everybody was optimistic that things might start to move forward a bit more
Amicably.
That's the word. So on Saturday the 29th of November 2009, Deputy Sheriff Nathan Perlin was finishing up some paperwork in his office when a call came in about a suspicious vehicle in Burlingame. It was just after 6 p.m. and someone had reported that a small truck was speeding around near their house. They had watched as a man had pulled up and got out of the truck and started walking down the road. He was then seen coming back carrying a large object that they couldn't identify what it was. Thinking that he was stealing, they grabbed a torch and headed outside to confront the man. And he placed the object in the back seat, got in the truck and drove off just as the couple approached. So they never actually managed to have the confrontation with him. Which, to be fair, is quite brave because I'm not sure that I would...
No, I don't like confrontation. I don't think that would be me.
I know, I wouldn't be brave enough for that, maybe.
We're not brave.
Exactly. So Deputy Perlin, he set off to see what was going on. But just a couple of minutes later, another call came in over the radio and it was coming from the same area. But this time it was more alarming. The caller was shouting, "Help, help, somebody is coming in to kill us.
Oh.
He's killing us, get out." And then the line went dead. So no sooner had they received that awful call when a third person called in. They had opened their front door to find a 10-year-old child crying and asking for help. That was Sean Kahler.
Oh.
He said he needed help at Dorothy White's house as there had been a shooting. Officers said that they knew it was going to be a bad scene, but nothing quite prepared them for what they were about to find.
Oh God, this sounds
So
terrifying.
just a warning, this is going to get a bit not so good.
Yeah, it sounds terrifying already.
Yeah. They entered the home and first they found 8 to 9-year-old Dorothy. She was bleeding really bad on the kitchen floor. She had been shot several times, but she was still alive, just. They then found Karen Kahler in the dining area. She had been shot twice. She was dead. 18-year-old Emily was found behind the sofa in the lounge and she had also been shot twice. She was also dead. Police thought she was likely trying to hide from the shooter, which is why she was doing this over. So Deputy Perlin then heard a faint voice calling for help from upstairs. It was Lauren. She was heard saying, "I don't want to die." And the officer was saying, "Who did this to you?" And just like Dorothy, she was alive, but only just. As Dorothy and Lauren were taken away, Lauren turned to an officer and said, "Craig." The officer said, "Who's that?" And she said, "It's my dad." Dorothy also identified Craig as the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So tragically, Lauren succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced dead shortly after getting to the hospital.
Oh.
Dorothy was still fighting, but it wasn't looking very hopeful. Police then realised that 10-year-old Sean had witnessed the lot.
Oh, God. That poor kid.
I know. Sean had said that he had been cleaning some old coins that he and his mum Karen had found, and as the two of them were stood at the sink, Craig entered the house via the back door, holding a rifle and shot at Karen. Sean said that he ducked down and just ran as fast as he could to get out the back door. He ran around to the front, hoping to get back in and get to a phone. He carefully opened the door, hearing more shots being fired, and he said he saw his dad, so he closed the door and he ran to get help instead. So that's when he ended up at a neighbour's house.
God, imagine that poor kid seeing that.
I know.
And especially because it's his dad, seeing his dad do that.
Well, I know, because obviously, I mean, being 10 years old, I'm sure he would have been aware to an extent of like the divorce and the fact his mum dad, but I mean, he was still going to his dad's house and having a relationship with his dad and stuff. So I mean, you know,
and you're not going to expect your dad to do that anyway. I mean, even if you're not having a great relationship with them, I'm sure nobody's expecting their dad to do that.
I know. And imagine like obviously the girls as well. I mean, no, their dads killed them.
That's awful.
And I mean, she obviously Lauren, she was able to say that it was him, but still, can't even imagine that.
No, that's awful.
So police had put out an alert to try and locate Craig. A resident then spotted someone abandoning their vehicle in the middle of nowhere and running down a deserted road. So she called in with a tip. Police found the vehicle and it matched the description of the one the neighbours had seen earlier that night and felt confident that it was Craig's. A search of the car found more ammunition and some unopened anxiety medications. A backpack was also found with some soap, towels, toilet paper, cotton balls and some tins of food, but Craig was nowhere to be found. And I wrote here, how could a father do that to his children? Because I was just a bit in disbelief at this point. I was like, how the hell? I had to have a moment there, like, how the hell could a father do that to his kids?
It's just unbelievable.
Considering they were, well, they're all innocent, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's his wife that's hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't bloody go and kill her.
No.
But it's hard to say it without sounding, you know what I mean? Like, why? What? You shouldn't kill anybody, but why are you killing your kids and your?
Yeah.
Was it her mum or her gran or whoever it was? Who was Dorothy?
Dorothy was the grandmother.
So what's she done?
Exactly. She was just in the wrong. Well, just her. It was
her. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
just wrong place at the wrong time.
I mean, they shouldn't have been killing anybody, but they didn't do anything wrong.
I know. Anyway, after 8 hours of searching, Craig Kahler was finally found, and it was now about 7 a.m. and he was wandering on the side of the road, looking confused and lost. He knew what was obviously coming, so he turned to officers and said, "I'm the guy you're looking for." And he said he was armed with a revolver as well as some pocket knives. And they also found hundreds of dollars in cash, some gloves and a flashlight and a hunting bag. He was arrested and taken to the station. So Craig was actually fairly open and he told the detectives a lot. He basically said it was because of the Sunny situation. He also...
Oh, imagine how she must be feeling.
Oh, I know, because... Well,
like, he's blaming it on her, basically.
Saying it, yeah, because of her, that's why I've done this, basically.
Oh,
so he also told them about the New Year's Eve party and how the pair would sneak visits out of town. He said he was particularly upset when he realised his daughters not only approved, but were travelling with Karen to meet Sonny as well. So I think that's why he obviously killed the girls as well.
That's no reason to be killing anybody, I'm sorry.
It's not. But that's probably his justification for it, is that he saw them as taking our side, so that's why he obviously killed them. Clearly, which why he didn't kill Sean. Because obviously that
But why did he kill the grandmother?
Well, probably just caught in the crossfire there, So Craig Kahler was charged with first-degree murder and aggravated burglary. His bail was set at $10 million.
Wow.
Sadly, on the 1st of December, Dorothy White passed away.
Oh, she died, didn't she?
Yeah, and that was 2 days after she had been shot. So in December of 2010, Craig had his preliminary that's the one, trial, where he entered a plea of insanity, the only defence against capital murder. His lawyers claimed that he had had a mental breakdown due to Karen's affair, and they said, along with losing his job and having to move in with his parents, it only added fuel to the fire. They said the unopened medication in his car, ongoing erratic behaviour, and the fact he did not cover up what he had done was evidence that he was not of a sound state of mind and that his plea of insanity was fair. But in 1995, the state of Kansas passed a law which revoked the traditional insanity defence. The new law stated that defendants could no longer argue that because of mental health issues they were incapable of deciding right from wrong. Instead, defendants suffering from mental health issues were still legally responsible for crime unless these mental health issues prevented them from forming an intent to commit or act with premeditation. So his defence team argued that his mental health issues were so severe that it proved he had not premeditated anything, he had just snapped in that moment. But the prosecution said it was premeditated, as his behaviour over the past year especially showed that this was all just building up to what eventually he wanted to do, which was kill his wife and anyone who stood in the way of that. It was pointed out that he did not shoot his son Sean, even though he was stood right there with his mum, showing Craig was in control and hadn't just snapped.
Yeah.
Sean, who was now 12 years old, appeared as the key witness via video link and told what he had witnessed. Sonny also testified. She described Karen and Craig's relationship as abusive and said Craig wasn't bothered and her and Karen wasn't bothered about her and Karen until he realised he had to let Karen go. So on the 25th of August 2011, after just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury had reached a unanimous verdict. Craig Kahler was found guilty of capital murder and his pleas of insanity were not believed. This meant that he would face the death penalty or life without parole. There were many victim impact statements, and Sean said that he did not want his dad to get the death penalty because it was hard on his grandparents and he did not want his whole family gone.
Oh.
Which I thought was quite sad, but because I mean his dad's killed all his family, but yeah, he still didn't want his dad to get the death penalty for it. However, Craig Kahler was sentenced to death for his crimes, so they didn't obviously. He asked to leave the courtroom so that he didn't have to hear the victim statements, but the judge made him stay.
Yeah, quite right as well.
Upon hearing his fate, he showed no remorse, no sadness, no emotion. It was said he only ever looked proud of himself, often smirking and muttering sarcastic comments.
Dickhead.
And as he left the courtroom to begin his sentence, he shouted to his mum and dad, "Take care of Sean so he's not raised by a bunch of freaks."
So he obviously was referring to Karen's side of the family.
Yeah, but thankfully, I think Sean did actually go and live with her side of the family, not his parents.
What an absolute dick.
Craig started writing letters to people, including the lead prosecutor, saying he felt relief for what happened as he was able to free Sean. I'm not sure how he freed Sean.
No, you free Sean. You traumatised that kid for life.
Yeah, one, you've not only killed his family, but he witnessed you doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't see how you've freed him. You've given him a life of probably nightmares, I would say.
And therapy, and
yeah,
you know.
Exactly. So I don't see how you've freed him.
No.
So his team appealed, but the appeal was denied. He tried appealing again in 2018 and 2020, but again the appeals were denied.
Good.
In January 2023, so this year, another appeal has been launched, which might be his last chance. Obviously, that's all I know up to date now. So I'll keep you updated if I do hear any more information. And of course, no execution date has been set until all legal options have been exhausted. So until the outcome of this latest appeal, they'll not set a date.
Right.
But at the moment, he's still on death row, still
just leave him there.
Executed, but
don't execute him. Just leave him there. Just let him rot.
Yeah, what a horrible bastard.
Piece of shit. There's not even any words bad enough.
I mean, to me, one, he was a horrible person as it was if he was controlling and
Yeah.
horrible to Karen in the first place, which, alright, it led to an affair, which, yes, she shouldn't have had, but then at least she did tell him about it, so she wasn't like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, she didn't hide it from him forever, so she did eventually confess that there was an affair going on. Obviously, she wanted to move on with her life and wanted to get with him, and he obviously couldn't stand that, then couldn't stand that his daughters were accepting of the new relationship. I mean, obviously he lost his job, very well paid job. I mean, he obviously was completely, his ego had been bruised.
Oh, definitely.
So he clearly retaliated and said, killed
Absolute
4 people.
piece of shit.
And yeah.
Yeah, we've got nothing else to say about that, do we?
I just thought it was, I mean, as I was researching it, I just thought, my God, I just couldn't believe what I was writing and reading and stuff. And I was just like, that's just awful. Like, how can it end up to anyone? But I just think when you can do it to your own family, that just seems a hell of a lot worse than
It does.
just to do it to strangers. I mean, it's obviously terrible to anybody, but to do it to your own family.
Well, these are the people that you're supposed to love.
Well,
These are the
exactly.
people that are supposed to be closest to you. You brought your children up. You've been married.
Exactly. I just
Shithead.
yeah.
Piece of shit. Dickhead. Wanker.
I don't know what he was thinking, like, because one, he'd already lost Karen, and he was certainly not going to get her back this way.
No.
So I mean, I don't know what he was wanting out of that, but I mean,
Well, he's got what he's deserved.
well,
He's
yeah,
in jail.
definitely got what he's deserved, and to be honest, I hope he does get the death penalty.
I don't.
Oh, you want to rot in jail?
Yeah, damn right. Why should he get to die?
Well, that's true, actually. Yeah, maybe he should just rot for the rest of his life.
Exactly. But just let him rot on death row, because how shit must that be to think? Well, when am I gonna? I mean, nobody knows when they're gonna die, but you're just living life wondering when these people are gonna decide when you die.
Yeah.
So just let him rot there.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely horrendous, because he doesn't deserve to die. That's what I.
True.
But
you're right.
that's why I don't like the death penalty. I don't think that's the right thing.
Yeah, because they get out of it, really. Yes, they might
Yeah.
lose their life, but I think it's probably, you're right, it's probably better to rot in jail and...
Be punished. That's no
Yeah.
punishment.
No,
Be punished.
100%.
So thank you to everybody for listening to our first episode after our break, and we'll try and be here every week.
Yes, we will be.
We'll try and not, go off on our jollies to New York. Where are you going to next?
Just a trip to the Lake District.
Is that
in
in August?
And then potentially maybe a week in November for a bit of winter sun, maybe.
To where?
Well, we're maybe going to go to Lanzarote. Oh, and I've got Florida booked for next year.
Oh, right, okay, we're just going to go now. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with us or follow us on our social media, we are on Instagram and Twitter at crime_divers_pod. You can email us at crime_divers_pod@outlook.com. We're on YouTube, and that's Crime Divers Podcast, and TikTok is also Crime Divers Podcast. If you would like to financially support the show, you could go to www.buymeacoffee.com/crimedivers and make a one-off donation. Our Patreon is patreon.com/crimedivers. We have 3 tiers, which is £1, £3 or £5, and you get bonus episodes, early access to episodes, and ad-free episodes.
And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe, rate and review.